All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the City of West Palm Beach code enforcement hearing. It's December 3rd. It is 9:03, so we can get started. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the special magistrate for today's hearing. First thing I'm going to do is, if you're here for a code enforcement matter, including city staff, I'm going to ask you to stand if you're able and raise your right hands. I'm going to swear everybody in at the same time. So if you're here for code enforcement and you plan to testify on any item on today's agenda, stand and raise your right hands for me. Perfect. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. A little bit about process. When you hear your case called, city staff will come to the podium here that's on my left. You will come to the podium here that's on my right. The city will go first. They will present their case. The documents that they intend to enter into the record will be scrolling on the screens behind me on both sides. They will call any witnesses that they intend to have testify. They'll show me the documents that are in the case file. They'll present their verbal testimony. Once the city has concluded its case, you will then have an opportunity to give me your side, present any testimony that you'd like me to hear, show me any documents that you have, cross-examine any witnesses that the city has put on. Once I've heard all sides' testimony and reviewed the documents, I'll make a ruling and you'll get an order that reflects that ruling after the hearing. So with that, keep in mind that all of your testimony this morning is given under oath, and I'll turn it to the city to call its first case.
Number 3, case number CEBLD 251-00847, address 4328 North Flagler Drive.
Good morning, Magistrate. Chris Montello, City of West Palm Beach. This is case number CEBLD 251-00847.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is that microphone on?
I don't know. Is it on?
Is the light on?
No.
Maybe get a little closer to it. I'm having a hard time.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better. Thank you. Go ahead,
there
sir.
we go.
Thank you.
Chris Montello, City of West Palm Beach. Code case CEBLD 251-00847. The address 4328 North Flagler Drive. The violation I observed there was they added an addition to the building to almost double the size of it. While they were doing that, they cut multiple supports for the fire sprinkler system, the life safety, added electrical to it, added a whole new double gang bathroom. They also added grease duct to the kitchen for a hood that is designed so that it's recirculating. They put a grease duct on it, so they changed from the manufacturer's specifications and added 2 new mini split units, air conditioning units.
Okay, and there's no building permits?
No building permits for any of that work.
And what is the nature of the business? It's obviously a large, what is it? It's a commercial building?
It's a club. I believe it's a private club for membership, but I'm not 100% sure of that, but it's a club where people go to have events and things like that.
Thank you, sir. So these photos that were being shown here, did you take these photos yourself?
Yes, I did.
And did they accurately depict what you witnessed there today?
Yes.
Or when you were there? And, all right, Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And what do you have in the way of service for this morning's hearing? Did you?
I posted it on November 13th, at the property. It was mailed, certified mail, on November 14th. It was returned to us on the 17th. The address wasn't updated in our system. We then mailed another one out on November 20th, which hasn't gotten there yet. I checked this morning.
So the original certified mail that you sent came back with that yellow sticker that
Yes.
said undeliverable or whatever, and then you posted?
Yes, but it was posted at the property, and today's hearing was posted on the property.
Okay. All right, good morning, sir. Your name?
Brian Checkis, Principal Planner, I Plan and Design.
And you're here as an agent for the owner, is that correct?
One of the agents for
Okay.
the owner to give you an update as to what's progressed since the time of the violation posting.
Can you
Okay.
spell your last name for me?
Cheguis.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cheguis.
Special Magistrate, very pleased to be here. The violation was received. It was posted. As soon as it was posted, the owner and the ownership group reached out to the consultants to find out what they needed to do. One of it was getting permits for these additions to outdoor structures. They're all accessory structures. There is a kitchen involved, but these are all open-air structures. These are part of a private club at the rear of Icon Marina. It's called Cove Club. They have Cheekies designed there. Some of the structures were originally approved on the original PUD approval. There was an expansion. There was the addition of certain elements to improve the services for the members, all of which are going to be permitted. As of yesterday, a building permit was filed with the City of West Palm Beach. Robert Brown's office received that yesterday. And from the time of the violation to now, the owner and all of the consultants have been actively working with building department, fire, planning and zoning to make sure that we understand what all the processes are to get formal approval of these minor modifications. I say minor in the sense that this area was approved to be what it is, this club. Certain structures were added, and we believe they can all fall into compliance, but we have to get a zoning approval. We have to get the permits out the door, and then final inspections once the deficiencies that were outlined by Officer Montello, and that's going to take a little while. We're not sure what the zoning process is right now. We were in discussions with zoning. They understand what it is we're going to be asking for, so they're assessing that, whether it's going to be a minor amendment or how staff's going to handle it. So we do need a little bit of time to make the corrections and get that permit out for approvals and the construction finalized.
So were there new buildings, or were the buildings installed? I'm hearing, I guess, conflicting things. So you need, the buildings there's a site plan approval that includes these outdoor structures.
Includes an outdoor kitchen, cheeky area, dining area, and it had an uncovered portion of seating that the cheeky was extended over that approved outdoor uncovered seating. Not enclosed, all open air, but they just overarched the roof over that area that was approved as open air. A second structure was constructed. It was a cheeky at the north end, again, just to provide coverage and sort of space off the sand that basically provides for entertainment area. Doesn't have any intensity. It's just basically coverage for middle of the day sun, basically. And some of the, under this cheeky bathroom was added to, again, have people at that area be able to be accommodated with bathroom facilities. Nothing out of the ordinary for what they're approved to do there as a private club, but not following all the regulations to get the proper permits.
Okay. So let me ask the city, what's the city asking for in terms of remedy today?
30 days, $100 a day.
And can the permits be obtained within 30 days? Typically, the permitting process in the
The
city is...
building permits can be. You'd have to check with zoning on how long it's going to take them. But the building department can get them out. I don't know how long it takes zoning to get out.
Is it just zoning sign off on the permit applications, or is there a separate development review process that has to be undertaken?
No, zoning would have to review it, first make sure the structure can exist where it sits. And at that point, there would be either a minor or a major amendment, as this gentleman said, but the zoning is...
Okay.
Madam Magistrate, I just wanted to add, he's correct, and as I stated, we will be in a formal zoning process, so I don't think 30 days is going to allow us enough time, whatever zoning process we're in. We're not sure what it is yet. We're hoping that it's going to be a minor process, as these are accessory structures, but we know we're going to be at least 90 days. There's no getting out of zoning in less than 3 months. So we would ask for 90 days, and we would ask for a deferral to show at least the progress now that the permit's been submitted, and it's sort of all under review. We'd like to be able to come back and show you that it's been corrected in 90 days or that it's well underway and we're just going through process.
So the difficulty is, I mean, it's, everybody knows you need to get permits to do work, right? So you're asking me to give you time, which is essentially a reward for bad behavior, which was not following the rules to begin with. So my job here today is to give you a reasonable amount of time to comply, but my job is not to give you an open-ended amount of time knowing that your client did this at risk, in violation of the city's code, in violation of the building code. That's I don't think fair to the city. Let me ask the city, are there portions of this that just require building permits that don't require the additional development review that could be permitted faster?
No, it would have to go through zoning because it's an extension of the structure. The concern the city has is they're still operating a business under fire watch. I get that, but that's only while they're
Fire
open.
watch on the property right now?
Well, no, there's a fire, well, I don't know. If they're operating, they must have a fire watch, but when they're not operating, there's no fire watch. If something happens when they're not operating, it has no protection. And the part that was protected, the sprinkler, the supports have been cut in many areas so that they could build that addition, and they never even repaired it, let alone pulled a permit for that work. When I was there, like I said, the grease duct, we'll call it, that they put in was very hot, and it was rubbing up against the tiki, which is a flammable substance. So right now, it's not I don't believe it's being operated in a safe manner. I did bring Tom and Caitlin from the fire department who can give you more information if you'd like to hear from them on what the fire watch is and how it's affecting their business.
Okay, does the city want the fire inspector to testify?
Yes.
Good morning. Thomas Wasolik, Assistant Fire Marshal.
Caitlin Dowdy, Senior Fire Inspector.
The property is having to maintain a condition of modified fire watch while it is in operation, and that is to protect the life safety of any occupants of this structure. It is an open air structure with open exiting. However, the addition of the roof structure, extending the structure towards the water line, expanded the space that is within the structure. We've not been able to do a full evaluation of proper exiting. The structure is not fully protected with a sprinkler system anymore. They've compromised the sprinkler system with the modifications that were made. So the condition was, we will not issue a cease and desist the use of the space of the structure as long as there's a modified fire watch performed while the structure is in operation. We've stopped by several times over the last 30 days. Everything's been in compliance. They've been following the rules. However, the structure is not fully protected 24/7 as it was previously prior to this unpermitted work being done. So there is some risk involved there. It's a calculated risk. It's a risk that's being borne by the property owner. If there were to be an incident there and there was a fire, part of our investigation report would be to include all of this information and that the structure was not properly protected as it should have been. That would go back on them as far as any losses that they would try to submit to insurance and so forth. So there are consequences to this that if something bad were to happen would go back onto the property owner. Our biggest concern is life safety when the building is occupied. We've not had any issues with that portion of it. The second structure that was built, the more northern structure on the property, we don't really have a plan of use as far as what that is being used for. It is an assembly space of some sort, but we don't know whether they're conducting parties in that area or whether it's just a casual seating area. We don't know if they're using it as a dance floor because we have not received any submittal for what that space is used for. Based on the statements of the property owners, we didn't have too great of a concern, but this is part of that unpermitted work. We're finding out about it afterwards. There hasn't been approval for the use of that space. If we were to do one of our checks and we were to find that they were using that space, as a dance floor with a DJ with 80 people, we would immediately ask that they lower that population to an acceptable level of 49 or less for that type of structure. But it doesn't change the fact that it is an unpermitted structure that is being used at the time. Any questions for us?
Yeah, just so I'm clear, your fire watch that you already have in place, that's not part of this code enforcement process, right?
No.
You're traveling that separately under your fire code and
Correct. If there were to be any issues and they were not in compliance, then we would put together a case and we may bring it to you at some point in time, but there's been no need for that. They've been very responsive to our concerns, our needs. I'd like to also add that some of the issues in the kitchen were immediately taken care of and the modifications were made to make that safe. That's why we did not issue a cease and desist the use of any of the kitchen equipment that was modified improperly. So we're very willing to work with them because they've immediately responded to our concerns. But it does not change the fact that this was unpermitted work that should have been permitted, and there is a life safety concern with what they have going on there.
Okay. Mr. Chegas, what's your response to that?
We agree, but at the same time, we have made the corrective actions from the time that we were noticed. The permits have been filed, so we're already in motion to make these corrections. There's going to be cutbacks to the buildings. There's going to be the removal of the bathrooms and reorientation of them and approval through zoning for those bathrooms. All of the mechanical, electrical will fall under the permits that are going to be applied for to make the corrections. So
That are going to be or that have been applied for?
we have the building permit in now. We're still working on those drawings. We'll submit them as soon as they're completed. But from the
So you have a permit application, but you don't have the required paperwork that accompanies the permit application? Is that accurate?
Well, there's actually multiple permits that are going to be required. So the building permit for the structures and whatnot have gone in. Those were the sort of the lowest hanging fruit that we could produce now. The other ones are in production, and once they're done, they'll go under that permit as a sub-permit. I'm assuming the architects can clarify that for me. I don't get into that detail of the permitting side of it. But we started it immediately as soon as we were noticed, as the fire department has indicated. We've been working with them to show them what the corrections will be. That'll be translated in the zoning application. That's going to show on the plans that were already submitted and on the electrical, mechanical plans that will be coming when they're finalized. It's really time. It's all it is. This is going to be a process. And that's why the 90 days is like at a minimum, that's what we're going to need, because we have multiple processes happening. Zoning is going to be involved.
But do you have a development application in? You could have submitted a development application, right? You don't have to wait for building permit to submit to planning and zoning.
Correct. We needed to know what all the changes were going to be to make them legal, to cut things back, to know what our application was going to be with zoning, and zoning needs to direct us as to what application process they want to put us into. That was part of the back and forth with zoning, that we're close. I could submit something very soon, but I just need to know what process they want to put me into. And we've been in those discussions.
Okay.
Because it involves zoning, we know it's going to be.
Yeah, my concern is
Process.
you need to get into that process sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
And you're
Absolutely.
2 weeks in from your initial notice.
Right. But we had to have all the moving parts sort of addressed in terms of what they were going to cut back, what they had to fix on the building side. In terms of fixing the equipment in the building, that's not a zoning issue. Like if they're fixing sprinklers, zoning doesn't care about that. We care about the structure addition, we care about the new structure, and any cutbacks that will change setbacks.
Right.
It's kind of the outside realm of it, and that's the lengthiest process because the building permit's already in. So we're now able to just follow whatever process zoning assigns us. Minor amendment, major amendment, we just don't know.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
The building permit is in. I agree. I'm sorry. The building permit is in.
Yeah.
However, the violation was written on October 3rd. The building permit just went in for just the structural portion yesterday. And we, within 24 hours, put it through our pre-screen, and now it's sitting in a fees due status, which is fine. I mean, you may not have gotten up, and I'm not saying that you're not going to pay the money. It took 2 months, though, to turn it in. We knew this was a problem on October 3rd, correct?
I was only informed in middle November of what was happening and the scope of it. And so I can't speak to when you did the first posting. I can only speak to when we were all noticed and all the consultants were now brought together to try and address it and the scope of it, understand the scope of it. Because it involves the whole site, this whole little portion of the approval. So I'm not contesting anything you said in terms of noticing and how long it's been out there. From the time we got it, mid-November to now, we've been every day trying to work for the zoning solutions. The architects are here. They can speak to the permitting side of it and what's all involved with the sprinklers, with the electrical, with fire suppression, all of that stuff. And it's multiple disciplines working at the same time. Electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, plumbers, the architects. So the first thing they could produce, the low-hanging fruit, was the building, the structure part of it. That's in. As we get it all in, it's coming to you. We're not on our heels on this. I'm asking for 90 days because of zoning, not because of the permit. They'll have permits in a week, 2 weeks. The permits will go in fast. It's the zoning that it's going to be the longest lead time that we just need. It's process. We can't jump ahead of zoning. We're tracking that process.
You're looking at, though, it's already been in violation for 60 days, right? So now if we did another 90, it's 150. On top of that, the unpermitted structure has existed for a while.
I don't doubt that. I'm not disclaiming that. I'm telling you, the problem was given to us. We've worked on it vigorously since the time that we were all pulled together to try and solve this problem. And so the time it was noticed and not getting it and it coming back and addresses, I can't speak to any of that. What I was told that there was a posting on the door, that's what was sent to me, and it was an actual a picture of what was posted on the door physically, and that's when got the ball rolling with the ownership and getting all the consultants pulled together. So I can't speak to the first notice, if it ever got to anyone, because of the address issue. I don't know any of that history, and I'm only working from the point of mid-November to this date, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, to get to this point, and I think we've done a lot to get there. It's the unknowns, and 30 days is just, we just know it's not going to get done in 30 days because of zoning. It's not because of the permits. Those will get in. They'll be in a review. They'll pay their fees. It's just the question of the zoning component of it is just the longest lead time. Not asking for favors on anything on the building side or the fire side. The life safety stuff has to be addressed as soon as possible. It's being worked on, but the zoning we just have no control over.
Let me ask the city, what is the typical timeline to get through planning and zoning? If he applied today, how long? Is that a month process?
I unfortunately, I don't know that. They're a different department.
Is anybody from planning and zoning here from the city today? From planning and zoning? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And were you sworn when I swore everybody in?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name?
Megan Bichon. I'm the landscape planner for the city of West Palm Beach. We actually have a new process when it comes to the planning review.
Okay.
It actually went into effect, I believe, a month ago. And as of now, when it comes to the applicant would have to submit for completeness, and that means the planners would have to go through all the documentation to see if they have all the documents that they would need. That takes a span of 30 days, I believe. But overall, it's 120 days. That's not to say that it's going to take 120 days, the complete 120 days. That's just the max. So
Okay.
it doesn't take that long as the applicant has all the documents that they are required to have.
Okay. Thank you for that additional information. So, Mr. Chegas, how long has the extra structure been there? When was it put up?
I have to defer to ownership or someone. I'm not sure when that second structure was built. If anyone can help me with that? No? Second structure, second tiki? Over a year. But maybe a year?
Over a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that second structure doesn't have any of the, just for information purposes, the bulk of what this case is the south structure that was expanded. That was the approved structure that was expanded. That has the kitchen involved. What Code Officer Montello was describing on the north structure is just, it's a platform that has a cheeky roof over it. And yes, it's like a congregation space. There's no fixed seating. It's just for gathering, sitting, whatever, maybe events. But that's not, for zoning purposes, we have to ask for a setback relief from that one. So we have setback issues for
Well,
that
but
structure.
then that's a whole nother process, Mr. Chegas. That's a variance request, right? But your alternative is you could move the structure so that it's not in the setback, or you could take the structure down,
Yeah,
correct? That's compliance as well?
We have to make modifications to it, and we're willing to do that. Zoning has to accept that as an accessory. It's complicated because we're within a PUD, and we're one pod within a PUD, and the approval of the PUD is what's dictating how we can make the modifications to this specific site. The 120 days is fantastic, but we only need 90 to know that we can get all of the building, life safety, electrical issues, the heavy lifting stuff for the building department is taken care of, or well into it in 90 days. Whereas zoning is probably going to take a little bit longer because we're in a PUD.
Well, it's not going to take you 90 days to get life safety electrical work permitted, right?
Correct. No, I agree.
So
I agree.
it shouldn't take you 90 days to do that.
I agree.
Right.
But the zoning side of it is like I said, that's the only wild card.
But
in
now
this.
you're telling me that you need an exception to the code, that it's not just a straight site plan modification, that you need a variance because it's in a setback. So that's an additional public hearing, is it not?
If we can avoid the variance, we'll avoid the variance by cutting it back and making the structure compliant. And then if zoning accepts that, then zoning will minimize the zoning process. Our intent is to minimize the zoning process so that we're not getting into any kind of major process. And I think our preliminary discussions with zoning is that they sort of see this as accessory and they kind of agree, but we don't have a formal, yes, this is the process you're going into. And then as the planner had indicated, we start that process and then it's just time after that, going through that process. We know how to apply to applications. We'll have all the right material, but it's still a 30-day turnaround for sufficiency, 30 days minimum for sufficiency.
But to Mr. Montello's point, somebody's known about this for 60 days and you don't even have an application in.
Can't get ahead of what the changes are supposed to be. Like zoning's going to lag behind everybody else because what they do to the building by removing something or moving something affects what
I
that
get
zoning
that,
plan say.
but I also get that that's a business decision. And when somebody makes a business decision to put up a structure and not get the approvals and not get the permits, that's a business decision. So that doesn't negate the fact that I have to give you a reasonable amount of time, but it does make me factor in as well that you've made a decision, your client's made a decision to put up a structure without following the city's process. So that doesn't mean that I have to give you every single day that it's going to take to get through another, 4-month public hearing process.
Agreed.
When it was put up at risk, knowing
Agreed.
that you didn't follow the process. So I have to give you here today a reasonable amount of time, but I also have to be sensitive to the fact that there's a life safety concern here. So what I'm trying to do is incentivize you to get through the process as quickly as you can, not on the slow track through the normal, planning and zoning process, waiting for planning and zoning to tell you what to do. Make application and then get the ball rolling. So let me ask the city, you're asking still for 30 days?
30 days, $100 a day. To clarify the question, that is New Year's Eve last year at the Cove Club up on the screen.
Okay.
So that structure was already there 11 months ago.
Okay.
What structure is that? Is that the
That's
south?
the
South Cheeky or North
south
Cheeky?
building.
Yeah. So this is the approved building that's been expanded.
Yeah.
But so that's the Cheeky that's always been there. That's the one that was on site.
was it
That's been
permitted?
expanded. It's been expanded.
But it was originally permitted.
It was on the original approved PUD plans. Correct.
But I'm not talking about the plans. I'm talking about, did it get a building permit?
Oh, I don't know about the original Cheeky permit. They have a kitchen and they have, so I believe everything was permitted legally. There was no issues with the
Okay.
original structure.
It's the expansion that's
It's
the
the
issue.
expansion that's
Okay.
causing all of this.
Can I see the notice of violation?
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to look at the notice for 1 second. Hold on. Is the actual notice in there, not the posted one? Thank you. There's a lot of files in there, I see. There it is.
November 19th. That was the reissuance? The date on that letter is November 19th. That was the reissuance of the notice?
I think there was another one in the file. I'll have her open that in a second.
Oh, okay.
see. All right, was there another NOV document in there? The next one down? Yeah, thank you. Additional building. Hold on one sec. Okay. All right, so that looks like the original one. I think you're right, Mr. Chegas. The second one was a secondary notice that was sent. Is that correct, Mr. Montello?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chegas, I need to ask you as well. Do you have any objection to the documents that are scrolling on the screen, those being admitted into the case file?
No, that's...
Into the record?
We were issued that, and that's exactly what was given, a photograph of what was posted at the site.
Okay.
I concur.
All right, anything further from the city?
No, ma'am.
Or anything further from you, Mr. Chegas?
No, I just want to say that we're working to comply. We're making every effort. I don't want you to think that zoning's sitting on its hands, but we're last in the process. The heavy lifting stuff's being worked on. Permits have been filed, started to be filed. They'll be paid today. And the additional permits, there's multiple permits, they'll be filed as soon as those drawings are done with the final configurations so that we can get fire rectified, electrical electrified, plumbing, all the things that are necessary to make sure all the corrections are done for the heavy lifting component of it. The zoning, in my opinion, that's not a big issue, but we have to resolve it as part of the overall case.
Because you won't get your permits really until you have, I know, that's the chicken and the egg here this morning.
That's the chicken and the egg.
All right, I appreciate your additional testimony. With that, in case CEBLD 251000847, I'm going to enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'm going to find, based on the notice documents that are included in that case file, which include an affidavit of posting that the city had good service for this morning's hearing. I'm going to find, based on the testimony of city staff as well as the fire inspectors, that the respondent's in violation of sections 110.3 and 105.1 of the Florida Building Code for the additional work and expansions that were done without the required permits. I'm going to require the respondent to comply with those sections within 75 days. So I'm giving you more time than the city wants me to give you, understanding that there is a process, but I want you to get through the process as quickly as you can, and I have your testimony that you're going to make every effort to do that. So you need to get through the process and get the required permits issued within those 75 days, or the $100 per day fine will start running on the 76th day. So knowing that, if you have to come back to me, if you don't comply within those 75 days, if there's some reason that you don't have the permits in hand by day 75, you can always request a fine mitigation hearing after you've come into compliance. But what I would ask you to do is, if I see you again at a fine mitigation hearing, bring me everything in terms of chronology that you did from today through actual compliance.
Right.
Because in order to mitigate the fine, I'm going to need you to prove to me that you were very diligent about getting through the process and that you didn't wait till the day before the compliance deadline to submit. You know the drill. So if you come back for that process, but I think 75 days, given what you have to go through, is reasonable. But you're going to have to work to get it done.
We will make every effort. Thank you very much, Special Magistrate. We appreciate your time
All right,
and
best
energy.
of luck
Thank
to you,
you,
sir.
officers.
Thank you.
Number 1, case number CEBLD 250707787, address 910 31st Street.
Good morning. Saul Yarmish for the City of West Palm Beach. Code case is CEBLD 25070787. At 910 31st Street, I observed a shed was installed without a permit. I issued a violation and posted the stop work order on on June 26th, 2025. The notice of violation was mailed via certified mail and regular mail on November 6, 2025. Was posted at City Hall on November 7th, 2025. Posted on the property on November 6, 2025. The certified mail was delivered on November 13th, 2025. I observed, again, a shed was installed without a permit and inspections. The pictures being shown truthfully and accurately depict the alleged violation and reflect what I'm testifying to. Permits and inspections are required for the work I observed and for what is displayed in the pictures shown. Permit has been applied for. Permit has not been issued. Inspections have not been performed. Included in my file is a copy of the notice of violation and affidavit of posting. I've had contact with the owner. The results are they're working on trying to get the permit, but a permit was issued, but it needs to be resubmitted. It was denied.
So
And,
it wasn't issued then, it was applied for, is that what you mean?
It was applied for, yes, and there was an issue with the reviewer required some more information, and it has not been satisfied to the planning, the reviewer, the plans examiner. The city recommends 90 days to comply and $50 after that. Time to bring the violation to compliance is a reasonable amount of time. I am submitting as evidence a copy of the case file, including all documents relied upon.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, your names?
My name is Jean Boots Brown. I'm the homeowner.
And your name, sir?
I am Randy Rhodes. I reside there, and I constructed the shed and pad.
Okay. So you've heard what this city is saying. They're saying that you applied for a permit, but you're working through comments. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Have you resubmitted or responded to the comments?
I have resubmitted multiple times, yes. My understanding is that the only review that needs to be satisfied at this time, and those requirements have changed repeatedly, but I think we're down to just needing an engineer's signature, structural engineer's signature that this structure is approved for use in the state of Florida. At one point I was told there was a list of those sheds, a list of sheds that were approved, but they couldn't produce that. So there's been some back and forth, but I have been really trying to jump through the hoops to get this permitted. I didn't realize in the very beginning when we put it up that it even needed a permit. I talked to neighbors and they all said, oh, you don't need a permit for something like that. It's like assembling your barbecue grill. So I do apologize, but once we got the stop work order, I have been working towards getting the permit. I've been going through planning. I've been doing all, trying to jump through all the hoops. I paid immediately.
So did you buy it from somewhere or did you make it?
No, we bought it from Home Depot.
Yeah, I purchased the shed from Home Depot, not realizing that it needed some kind of state approval or anything like that. It's a assembly type shed, and now they're asking that we have an engineer come and see if it's structural. I mean, if I need to put a strap around it, it's all tack-honed into the pad. Pad's poured with wire reinforcement. It's got rebarb in it, probably way beyond what would be required for this shed. And it's just, they're making it really, I mean, the whole shed was $400, and we've already paid more than that in permits and fines and time. And we just want to get it's a garden shed, has no electricity, has no water.
Yeah,
We just want to put our stuff in there.
yeah, those can be tricky. The trouble is that the city wants to make sure, and your neighbors want to make sure that it doesn't blow away in a hurricane and blow
Right.
into their
And-
house.
And
so
that's why we put the concrete pad in,
right.
honestly.
The good news is you bought it from somewhere, so typically you can find from the manufacturer the engineering specifications,
Yeah,
and
we
you
have
can.
the instruction manual, and we've contacted Home Depot to see, do you sell sheds that aren't approved by, they don't know. They send us to the manufacturer. They hardly speak English, so it's hard to even get a point across to them or get any kind of response.
All right, so the city's asking me to give you 90 days. That should be more than enough time to get through.
To
Get
a
an
structural
engineer, so we have to get a structural engineer to make this, that's probably gonna cost more than.
So I don't prescribe the process that you comply. That you need to deal with the city on and the building official. I don't know what they're going to require, but usually it's either the manufacturer specifications that have
We gave
engineered
them-
wind loads and all of that, or it's a new report from an engineer. But I'll defer to the city on that. I don't make that determination here today. I just give you, I review what's here and find whether there's a violation, and then if there is, give you time to comply. So you got to get with the city on what they're actually requiring. That's part of the comment review process.
Okay, because we provided them the manual. First, they just wanted, the manufacturer and the manual, and we gave them that. And then it got denied, and now it's, you need a structural engineer.
Yeah, it's the
like
engineering, but yeah, you're going to have to work through that with the city staff. So even 90 days should be more than enough time to do that, but you've got to go back and forth with the city till you get their comment satisfied. Anything else from the city?
No, Your
All right.
Magistrate.
And somebody in I don't know, is that planning that's reviewing that part, or is that's the building?
The building is plans examiner is in the
Okay, is
building
doing that.
department.
All right, anything else you'd like me to hear?
Just that we've tried to
We've
comply.
gone back and forth with the city many
yeah.
a time, so we're not getting anywhere.
Well,
This is the last review,
just be diligent about trying to address their comments, because you'll never get through the process if you don't get them whatever signed document that they need or whatever, report that they need. So make sure you're diligent about that. Let me ask you, do you have any objection to the documents that are on the screen being entered into the record? It's the notice documents for today's hearing, the photographs. Okay.
We've received those.
Okay.
They're on site, we live in the house.
All right, with that, I'll give you the 90 days that the city is asking for. That should be more than enough time, but just to make sure you have time to go back and forth with the city, you should be fine there. All right, in case CEBLD 250707787, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include the affidavit of posting and the delivery confirmation for the certified mail that the city had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of city staff that the respondent's in violation of section 105.1 and 110.3 of the building code for the shed that was put up without a permit. And I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections within 90 days or a $50 a day fine will start running after that 91st day, on that 91st day. So keep in touch with the city, try to get their comments addressed, but if you have any issues, just make sure you communicate with the code enforcement people, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Number 4, case number CEBLD 240-70601, address 2001 Florida Avenue.
Good morning. My name is Joe Valdez, building inspector with the city of West Palm Beach. The code case I'm here for is CLBLD 2407-0601. The address of the violation is 2001 Florida Avenue. The violation I observed was it's a house, an old historical house. They enclosed some existing windows and stuccoed over them, and they added a couple of other new windows in other areas of the house. The violation was posted on the job site on 7/3/2024. Notice of violation was mailed, certified mailed on 11/6/25, posted on City Hall at 11/8/2025, was posted on the property 11/8/2025. It was delivered, certified mail, 11/28/2025. And the violation, as you can see on the pictures, were for enclosing existing window opening with stucco and I'm thinking drywall inside, and then added some new windows. Permits have been applied for on 7/5/2025, which was a while back, under permit number 24070316. They have not been issued. They've had some notes from historical and building, and they have not been addressed as of now. Included in my file is a notice violation and the affidavit of posting. At this point, the city recommends 60 days and $50 per day after that, which I think is sufficient time since they do have the permits in for review and they've been in there for a while. So I think it should be something simple at this point that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, your name, sir?
Good morning, Special Magistrate. My name is Joseph Montgomery.
Okay. So you've heard what the city is saying. You have a permit application in. You're working through the process.
That's correct. And it's my fault. I didn't realize that after I made the application, a note came on that I had to actually come in person and have something signed in person. I thought it was handled and I was just waiting for the next step. So I did that recently, and I think everything's underway.
Okay, so you think you can get all the way through the process in 60 days?
So I wasn't, the closing a window, and I don't know if this is even the right place to talk about this, but it wasn't actually a window, it was a facade, and this was right before I was having the property tented for termites, and they recommended that we just pull that off and make it right because they saw it as a potential problem area. As far as what they're calling the new windows, were there, so no permits have been applied for that I know of, and I don't know that they are new. I've had this property for 5 years now at this point. I definitely am responsible for the window being covered, but again, it was actually not a real window. And because of that,
What was it? I'm not sure I understand then.
it had been previously covered up from behind, and I think they just left the facade of a window, so it just looked like a frame in glass, but it was actually not.
But on the
something that you
inside of the
could
house,
see
you're
through.
saying, yeah, it was
right.
covered. Okay.
And nor was it ever. And in fact, I didn't even, it took me years to even put 2 and 2 together that it wasn't a real window. I was like, hey, where's that even go to? So that was closed up and had been since I moved in the property, but that's been handled, and it's been handled to the extent that I've applied for that permit to make sure, I do want someone to inspect it, make sure everything looks good, but there's been no issues, no leaks, no problems, nothing like this, no termites. But as far as the other windows, I have not done anything for that process, but I can look into that, and I will look into that.
So let me have you stop real quick while she has that photo up. So that's very clear. That's the window that was covered over, right? The stucco
Yes.
at the top there.
Exactly.
You're saying, code officer, that that window,
window
below
below.
that is new windows?
Yeah, and then on the other picture, I think there's one other picture.
And the city doesn't have any permits on file for those windows?
No.
Okay, so what you're telling him is he needs to apply
Yeah,
for
once
permits
you become
for those
owner
windows?
of the property, if something comes up, those issues are yours.
I'll do whatever I have to do. I didn't know. Yeah, thank you for this. So I'll do it.
Okay.
If 60 days is enough, then that'll be enough.
Yeah, at this point, you can add the windows to your permit,
Fantastic.
your existing permit, so you can do a resubmittal
I'll do it.
on that existing permit and add the windows to it.
And I think, Mr. Valdez, I heard you say that this is a historic property. Is there any other approvals that are in play here, or is this strictly a building permit
Well, it's
process?
historical building, and I think that's about it.
Okay, so there's no additional city process that he has to go through, just the permit process?
Yes,
Okay. So 60 days should be more than enough time to get through that
I think so.
process? Okay.
So that,
I mean,
to
if
be
he's-
clear, so
if-
I don't need to, there's no historical thing that has to be done with this? I
Yeah,
just go through-
historical has to look at the windows and see if they approve them.
But do they do that as part of the building permit review, or is there a public hearing process there?
No, it's part of the building permit review, but historical is a different section,
So
but it's
this is a different
still-
department?
Yeah,
Okay, so it doesn't sound like there's any additional public hearings, it's just they have to sign off on the building permit application?
right.
All part of the same application then?
That's
Yes.
what he's saying, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll do it. And again, sorry, I thought we were doing the right thing.
That's fine.
All right, so sir, let me ask you, do you have any objection to the documents that you've seen on the screen being
No
entered?
objection.
Okay, thank you. Anything further you'd like me to hear, Mr. Montgomery?
Just, if possible, to have 90 days, just to make sure this process has already taken quite a bit. Again, I know it's my fault. I didn't see the notice, but just to err on the safe side, so we're not here again asking for 30 days. I'd like to be able to submit everything in 45 days to Mr. Valdez, and not have to have the hearing. So if possible, just to have a little buffer to make sure that we don't have to come back asking for any more time.
Well, so just so you're clear, you won't come back to me after right now. So I'll make a ruling and I'll give you an amount of time to comply. If you don't comply by that deadline that I specify, then a fine just starts immediately running the next day. You don't come back to a subsequent hearing. Why do you think you need more than 60 days? You have an application in.
Just looking at it, says after everything, it's been over a year. Again, a lot of the standstill is my fault, but it's 8% completed. So if I'm just looking at how it's buffering along, it doesn't seem like we're getting close to 100, even though, and now everything seems to be out of my hands. I'll make the new applications, but there's a little progress bar, and even with everything already done, it's only showing 8%. So I'm just to err on the side of safety.
Does the city have any response?
We could do 75.
Okay. All right, I'll give you the additional 2 weeks. I'll give you 75 days to comply. That should be more than enough time. But be diligent, like you know now, when they issue comments back to you, it's up to you to see those comments and address them. Otherwise, they'll sit in your email and nothing will happen. All right.
Is there one last question, if I can? Is there anything I should do if we're getting close? I'm being diligent. I'm getting close to the end, and I realize it's not happening. Do I reach out to Mr.
Be in communication with
Okay.
Mr. Valdez so
Perfect.
that he knows where you are in the process.
Yep.
It's always better to over-communicate than to under-communicate so you don't get fines started.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today.
All right, in case CEBLD 240700601, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find that the city had good service based on the notice documents in that case file, which include an affidavit of posting and delivery confirmation on the certified mail. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of city staff as well as the respondent that the respondent's in violation of sections 110.3 and 105.1 of the Florida Building Code for the work that was done without the required permits. I'll give respondents 75 days to come into compliance with those code sections, or a $50 per day fine will start running, and that'll run until compliance is achieved. So as I said, keep in touch with Mr. Valdez if you have any issues, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Number 23, case number CE 251-04165, address 1456 North Mangonia Drive.
Good morning, Code Officer KT. We were with the City of West Palm Beach. While patrolling in my zone, I observed several violations at 1456 North Mangonia Drive. I took photos of the violations, which accurately and truthfully depict the violations observed. I initiated my investigation on October the 7th of 2025, citing multiple violations, which some have been complied. The remaining violations are 94-442-C-1, landscaped areas must be grass, 94-487-B-2, restricted vehicles on the property, FBC 110.1, work subject to inspection, 94-442-E, landscaping of swells and parkways, 18-106-M, landscape maintenance, 94-71-C, outdoor storage, and 97-487-B-5, screening of restricted vehicles. The notice of violation was posted at the property and City Hall on October the 8th of 2025. The affidavit of posting was completed on October the 8th of 2025 and a copy placed in the case file. Certified and regular mail was sent to the mailing address listed on PAPA on October the 17th of 2025. The certified mail was returned. I revisited the property on December the 2nd, 2025 and observed the property still in violation of all the violations previously listed. Reinspection photos were taken showing the remaining violations. They were uploaded to the case file. I have had contact with the property owner, who is in agreement with an additional 60 days to bring the property into compliance. So the city is requesting an additional 60 days or $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, Officer Weaver. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, and Ms. Weaver, did I hear you say 94-442E? Or did that comply?
Yes, you heard me say that.
Okay, great.
Everything that's on the docket.
It's still listed.
Most
Okay.
of the areas have been touched, as you see, the grass sod, some sod have been put down, some seeds. So it's just the filling in for those areas. She said was going to be removed. So it's the things that are remaining, the time that I asked for should be more than enough for it to be done. So that's why we gave the additional time. But she has been working diligently to comply the property, I must say.
Okay, great. Your name, sir, the record?
Mary Ware Barkley.
And your name, ma'am?
Chelsea Rollins.
Okay. So you've heard what the city is saying. They're asking me to give you 60 days. They're telling me you're in agreement with that. You think you can get it done within those 60 days?
Yes.
And you understand what you need to do to get into full compliance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any objection to the documents that are on the screen being entered into the record?
No, ma'am. We good.
Okay. Anything else you'd like me to hear?
No, ma'am.
All right, there's the posting affidavit. And keep in touch. It sounds like you've been in touch with Ms. Weaver, but keep in touch with her if you have any issues, just so she knows what's going on. All right, in case CE 25104165, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find, based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find, based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the testimony of the code officer, that the respondent's in violation of sections 94-442C1, 94-487B2, Florida Building Code 110.1, 94-442E, 18-106M, 94-71C, and 94-487B5. And I'll require respondents to comply with those code sections within 60 days, or a $100 a day fine will be imposed for each day that the violations continue thereafter. So again, keep in touch with her if you have any issues that you don't think you can make that compliance date, okay?
Okay.
Best of luck to you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 10, case number CE 251-04252, address 2301 North Tamron Avenue.
Good morning. I'm Code Officer Richard Pasmino with City West Palm Beach. I'm presenting this case on behalf of Code Officer Donald Lattimore, who couldn't be here today. This case was initiated while a code officer was on routine patrol, who observed the violations at 2301 North Tamron Avenue. The initial inspection for this case was initiated on October 20th, 2025. And he cited the property for outdoor storage and unpermitted signs. A reinspection was done on November 24th, 2025, where it was observed that the property was not in compliance with violation 94-402E1 for unpermitted signs. The city issued a notice of violation to the property owner, which identified the violations, the officer's contact information, and notice of this hearing date. The notice of violation was posted at Property and City Hall on October 24th, 2025. An affidavit of posting is completed, dated October 24th, 2025, and it is in the case file. The notice violation was noticed by certified mail and regular mail on October 30th, 2025 by the city's clerk. Certified mail was signed for on November 21st, 2025. The photographs of initial investigation and reinspection were taken by Code Officer Donald Lattimore. I reviewed them myself, as well as the whole case file. They accurately depict the violation cited in the notice. The property owner is here today. I spoke to him briefly before the hearing. He had conversations with the code officer and prior to this hearing. The only remaining violation is the sign permit. There is a permit in the system, applied for on November 26th. It has failed pre-screening, so it's still going through the process. It just failed the second pre-screen yesterday, December 2nd. So it needs additional time. The city is recommending 60 additional days to comply. If no compliance is achieved, then the city is asking for a $50 a day fine until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And let me ask you, Mr. Pasmino, on the photos that we were looking at, what sign or signs is it that require the permit?
It's all signs. So the vinyl window displays, the structural signs attached to the building. I don't know if you could pull the photo up, Monique. The re-inspection photos. I could go over them. No, post-hearing, no. That one, yes. So there are no sign permits in our system except the one he just applied for. So any display of signage requires a permit. The vinyl sticker displays on the windows, on the doors, including all of those.
And there was a banner or something?
And there's a, yeah.
That yellow one, that
the
also?
barbershop banner.
Okay. Okay, your name, sir?
Alan Friedman, good morning, everyone.
And your relation to the LLC?
I'm the owner of the LLC.
Okay, thank you. So you've heard what the city is saying. They're asking me to give you 60 days. It sounds like you have a signed permit application in and you're going through the process?
So I don't have anything in. I'm the owner, I'm not the occupant. The tenant has an application in. The couple of issues that I have, and they're not major issues, I've spoken with the code enforcement officer. He's been amazing. As the gentleman just mentioned, and I'm sorry I don't know your name, the date on the notice was October 24th. It was sent out certified mail. I live down south. The certified mail date that he mentioned was November 21st. I have a compliance date of November 24th, which essentially left me 3 days from the date I found out about this to even know that there was an issue here. The minute I found out there was an issue, I contacted the tenant, who happens to work for the city of Riviera, and I was very surprised that she was out of compliance because she's pretty good with this stuff. She informed me that she was told initially that because they were indoor signs and not outdoor signs, and they were just vinyl stickers, there was nothing needed, but she would take care of the permit. I followed up with the code enforcement officer, who basically told me that, hey, unfortunately, I'm here on the recompliance day. The cleanup from the tenant upstairs was done, and you're good, but she, failed the first application. I called her up. She said, look, they've switched to an electronic system. She's really not familiar with how to do this. She's trying to work it out, and she's going to get it done. As the gentleman mentioned, rightfully so, she's tried twice, failed. I think it's just a technical issue. She doesn't know how to do it. She's actually I asked her to come with me today. She's in surgery right now. I had spoken with the code enforcement officer that wrote this up. He told me he was going to recommend 60 days, and he said, rightfully, you probably won't get this done until 90. I'm going to ask for 90, but in hearing all of this, the challenge that I'm faced with is very simply, I don't have much of a remedy here. I can't do anything. It's not me that needs to apply. I am not.
Why can't you make application?
I'm sorry?
You own the building, right? It's your
Yes.
property. Why
Yeah.
can't you apply for the sign permit?
I'm not the occupant. It's not my sign.
Okay.
So the person that occupies the business needs to apply for the sign.
Is that correct, Mr. Pasmino? Can he make application?
I'm not sure. I could ask zoning.
Okay.
I'm 99.9% sure. I also own a business. I know it's a different county, but down south where I'm a tenant, and the landlord has nothing to do with our signs if we get it. Sure, it goes on the building, it's collectible on the building, and I understand that, but I can't apply for a sign for a business that I don't own, nor can I apply for any sort of certification for that business. So she has to apply for that. So as a matter of fact, I believe if I went in there right now and tried to ask questions, they wouldn't even speak to me about that application. I'm not the applicant. So my only remedy here would be to say that she's in violation of her lease and begin a formal process of getting her out, which I'm not a big fan of with any of my tenants. That's not what I do. I've never done that unless there's been, illegal activity going on or anything like that. I do not throw people out for lack of finances or anything. I'm not an angel by any stretch of the imagination, but that's not what I'm about. My main business down south is working with special needs children, and I have plenty of people that I personally pay their tuition. So I'm not about evicting people. But that's, if the city forces me to, which I understand, that's my only remedy. That said, I was going to ask for 90 days, but I just realized even if this woman, who I don't even believe it's her fault, she's in surgery right now, she's a sweetheart, she's trying. If she comes back in 60 days or 90 days and says, I couldn't get this done, now the clock is ticking, I'm paying money, now I've got to begin an eviction, which is going to take about another month. So I'm almost inclined to ask for 120 days, because if after 60 or 90 days, the code enforcement officer says, Alan, there's nothing I can do, you've run the clock, I now have to start an eviction, which I would hate to do. And
but let's be clear, the signs could come down off the windows. That's a much faster remedy, right? So if in 59 days she doesn't have the permit, you tell her take the signs down and the problem goes away. And
You're
code enforcement is
100%
complied.
right,
So,
and I thought about that, but
Right.
people are strange, right? Let's say I do that and she says, I'm not taking them down. What do I do?
But I understand that, but that's again a business decision, right? So there's more than one way to remedy a code enforcement violation. I'm happy to give you enough time, but I don't think you need 120 days to get a sign permit. That should be, you should be able to do that in 30 days.
You're right, but we have a woman that's in surgery. I don't know what's wrong with her. There's a second surgery she's had in 60 days. We also are looking at the holidays. She's also failed twice. Clearly, she doesn't know what to do. I don't know how we're going to remedy that. So, sorry, it's probably a stress diabetes meter going off. I apologize. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm asking for 120 days. I understand if you don't want to give it to me, and I understand why you wouldn't. I'm just laying the facts out and telling you what, I'm looking at worst case scenario.
I understand that, but I also understand that everybody has life, right? I can't give time based on 15 surgeries out. I can't give 3 years to comply because somebody has personal things going on. That's not my job.
I can tell you I own properties here for over 10 years and I've never been in this council.
So that's a good thing,
yeah,
right? That's a good
yeah.
thing. Let me ask the city, what is the normal turnaround time to get a sign permit?
It's like you said, it depends on if the permit is complete, if the application packet is complete.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last turnaround, the last pre-screen fail was for incompleteness. So
This particular application, because she's only had the application in for a week, right? She applied
11/26, yeah, and it failed twice since then. It's incomplete. The packet is incomplete.
Okay.
But
I don't think she knows exactly how to do this, and I don't know that I know, so I don't know that I can teach her.
That the information is public, so they should be able to tell you if you go across
Yeah.
the hall.
I think she's been here a few times. Like I said, she works for the city of Riviera, so she knows people here. She's been here, but I don't know why she's having trouble. And again, I can't reach her.
All right, I'm going to give you 75 days, like you've heard me give the other folks. You have a much simpler process, so that should be much more than enough time than you need. But given what I've heard you say, my job is to give you a reasonable amount of time to comply. I think 75 days is more than reasonable. Let me ask you procedurally, do you have any objection to the documents that have been scrolling on the screen being entered into the record?
Not at all.
Okay. Anything else you'd like me to hear?
Nope.
Anything else from the city?
No.
All right, in case CE 25104-252, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include both an affidavit of posting and a signed certified mail, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 94402E1 for the unpermitted signs. And I'll give respondent 75 days to comply with that section, or a $50 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues. So make sure if your tenant can't figure out how to get through the process, make sure you communicate with Mr. Pesmino so that he understands what the issues are if you're having issues or your tenant is, okay?
Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Happy holidays to everybody.
Same to you. Good luck, sir.
Number 2, case number CE 2511-4332, address 540 Clematis Street.
Is that all for contested? No, it's, okay.
Good morning, Kevin Levine, Code Enforcement Supervisor, presenting on behalf of Mr. Donald Williams. The business located at 540 Clematis Street, number 6, Psychic, was cited on 11/13/2025 for the following code violations. 22-32A COU, 82-144 BTR, and 94-315-B-1 outdoor storage commercial, which is complied. Certified mail was sent on 11/18. Both City Hall and the property was posted on 11/13/2025. Mr. Williams has had no contact with the property owner. The city is requesting 10 days to come into compliance or $100 a day thereafter.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, for the record, the respondent is not present. So you said Mr. Williams has had no contact?
Beg your pardon?
You said Mr. Williams has had no contact with the respondent?
If I may, this particular business is what we refer to as a frequent flyer. Every year this person is delinquent, so getting in contact with them is pretty much difficult.
And you wanted 200
A one-time fee of $250 for the BTR 82-144 and $100 a day after 10 days for the COU if the BTR is not paid.
and outdoor storage, or did that comply?
That is complied, yes.
That complied?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, in case CE 25114332, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the testimony of the code enforcement officer, that the respondent's in violation of sections 2232A and 82144.
Good morning. My name is Yasmin Law. I am a code officer for the City of West Palm Beach. I received a complaint regarding the property at 7853 South Flagler Drive. Upon my inspection, the property was observed to be in violation, and it is still in violation for the following codes: 94-451-A-4 and 944-451-D for artificial turf in the front of the property, and 78-6-5 for the address characters being posted to the structure. The city issued a notice of violations to the property owner, which identified the violations, my contact information, and provided on the notice of violation along with the date, time, and location of the hearing. The notice of violation was sent certified mail and regular mail on November 5th, 2025 by the city's clerk. I posted the notice of violation at the property, and I also completed the affidavit of posting on November 3rd, 2025, and it's in the case file. I took photos at the initial investigation and when I visited the property on November 26. These photos accurately and truthfully depict the violation I observed during this investigation. The property owner is present, and I have been in contact with the property owner and a designated representative. The city is requesting 30 days to comply all remaining violations. If no compliance for all code sections, the city is requesting $100 per day fine until the violations are corrected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Law. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony as evidence.
All right, your name, sir?
Sam Bonamo. Good morning.
Good morning. And your relation to the LLC?
I am the owner.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Bonamo, B-O-N-O-M-O.
So you've heard what the city is saying. They're asking me to give you 30 days to come into compliance.
Yes.
Go ahead.
We originally had, this property was completed around October 15th. All the landscaping was done per plan, approved, etc. However, after the grass was installed in between the pavers, we realized that rather quickly that the grass was dying on us, regardless of maintenance, etc. So we replaced it twice, and we determined it's just not going to work out. And every time you drive on that real grass, because of the dirt that you have underneath it, it goes on the stones, and then you end up with power washers and chemicals you're using to get the stones cleaned up, and so on and so forth. So we contacted our landscape architect, and we asked what are our other options. And it was determined that, considering the amount of real grass that there is on the property, it's 22,000 square foot of land. About 16,000 square feet of that is grass. And this is about, give or take, 700 square feet of fake turf, which is the one you drive on. And I don't want to exaggerate, but every 6th or 7th house driveways in West Palm Beach has it for a reason. And we determined this is our best option. We even had neighbors somewhat complaining about the amount of power washing we create. They're not happy to see chemicals being sprayed on the stones to keep them clean. So that's why we decided to go with this turf. We also were told it was okay to do that. Apparently, Governor DeSantis signed a bill that authorizes the usage of fake turf on properties 1 acre or smaller. They're now waiting for the FDEP to come up with what kind of fake turf you can and cannot use. You cannot just use any kind of fake turf. Anyway, so there's a lot of things happening here, and it seems I'm getting caught in between something that is by the governor approved, but now he's waiting for the FDEP to do their part to say what you can and cannot use. By complete coincidence, the company that sold us this material and installed it happens to be the one that the FDEP is consulting with to determine what is environmentally friendly. So what we have used here, we have all the specs on it. We are assuming it's going to fall within what FDEP is going to be ruling on or authorizing homeowners to use. And they had the last hearing on November 25th. They believe first quarter of 26, they will give the guidelines as to what you can and cannot use and what's recommended and not recommended.
Okay.
So I am respectfully asking 4 or 5 months to give them a chance to tell us what we can and cannot do. I hate to rip this out and put it back in once that determination is done. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
I understand there's also a violation concerning the mailbox. It has been ordered. It's been 4 months and it's about 30 days out.
Is that the numbering standards?
Yes, ma'am. The numbering standards actually have to be on the structure, not on a mailbox.
Do you understand that, sir? So you have to have house numbers on the house.
No,
not
that is correct. But the mailbox that we ordered has a specific, what's the term? The numbers have a specific look, and we ordered the same thing
For the
front of the
house.
house.
Okay.
So they're all going to come together.
Okay.
We do have a placard that's temporary that shows 7853 in front of the house.
Okay.
And we also have 7853 on a temporary Home Depot mailbox nailed on a 2x4.
All right, what's the city's response to his arguments about artificial turf?
Well, I actually invited the landscape person to come in to speak to it.
Okay.
Hi, Megan Mashot. I'm the landscape planner for the city of West Palm Beach. I actually did the landscape inspection for this property, I believe late October, and there was grass there. There was an artificial turf. I can say that the applicant did put in an artificial turf permit, but that was only for the front and that was only for the back of the house. And I believe there was also some wording indicating that you shouldn't have turf in front of the house. In regards to the house bill that you mentioned, that really just pertains to the cities that didn't allow turf at all. West Palm Beach has allowed artificial turf since 2013, I believe. So it's not prohibiting you from having artificial turf. They're just restricting where you should have artificial turf. Now, if I were to see that there was artificial turf at the time of inspection, the inspection wouldn't have passed because there is code indicating that we can't have turf in front of the house. So that's what I have to say.
If I may ask, you said something about artificial turf in the back of the house?
Correct.
There is none.
And the lattice area, I
There-
know you have like the chess.
There's not an ounce of fake turf, and you're welcome to come by in the back of the house.
Okay.
And the grass you see there in the front to the left and the right of the walkway
Right.
is pretty darn close to the fake turf, the two bands.
I see. I
And
can
that
actually
grass
see the
is,
difference.
That grass is actually a healthier grass that just came out from the University of North Carolina. That's drought resistant and salt resistant. That's why
Is it Citra Blue Zoysia grass? Is that what that is?
It's called. But that grass has been used throughout the entire property from front to back.
Okay. So
We
then
never did.
that would mean you would have another issue because you didn't put in a turf application permit for the city to tell you that you can't have it to avoid what you're going through right now, which is you can't have turf in front of your house.
Well, okay, if that is one requirement, I understand. But I think the problem I am having, and I think other homeowners are going to have in West Palm Beach, is whoever ends up having to go in that direction because of the problem I'm having, which is going to be the same problem for everyone. What do we do? Do we respectfully ask the city of West Palm Beach, can you give the state a little time to tell us what is allowed so that we can file?
Let me ask the city attorney, the law doesn't preempts all local governments, correct? It's not just local governments who didn't have ordinances about artificial turf on the books, right? It's a full, broad preemption.
That's my understanding, in that preemption is contingent on the rulemaking process that's currently being contemplated by the state agency. So until we have those rules from the agency, the city's position is that they can't afford themselves to the preemption until those rules are made.
So I have a question for the city attorney. I read through the draft, which was, I believe the latest draft was November 25th. The turf standards really only apply to the quality of the turf. It doesn't say that cities can't prohibit where the placement is. So where is your stance on that if there's no language of where the turf can be applied, and it only talks about like the standards and the quality of artificial turf?
And when you said the latest draft, what draft are you speaking of?
The draft on DEP, which is the Department of Environmental Protection. Yeah. They're the ones who's supposed to create the rules of what can happen with turf. And I can email that to you as well.
Yeah, so that's a state agency, and they're regulating and making rules as delegated to them by Florida Statute 125-572, which does preempt local governments with certain criteria, which is the preemption depends on the rules that will eventually come out of the rulemaking process, but that has not yet occurred. It's all being drafted and proposed. It hasn't been formalized yet.
So I'm sensitive. I think we had one. I don't remember if it was last month or the month before, but we had another one of these. I'm sensitive because it doesn't seem reasonable to have him rip this out if the rulemaking is near completion, which is my understanding. I don't think it's fair to have him rip it out to then just put it back. So I'm inclined to give him some time to see what happens with the rulemaking. I understand, and I'm sensitive to the fact that the city's allowed to enforce its code now, but that seems. I don't know that I've ruled like that before. I think we've given. The city's been amenable with giving people time to let the rulemaking process play out. Is that the city's position on this case, or?
So I do remember that previous case regarding similar circumstances, and the city will rely on the code officer's position as to the enforcement of the artificial turf.
Okay. All right, let's do the easy part before we get to the hard part. So do you have any objections, sir, to the documents that you've seen scrolling on the screen, those being entered into the record?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to give you time. The city is not going to be happy with me. I sit in this seat in a lot of jurisdictions, and I sit in the city attorney's seat in other jurisdictions. So we're all kind of in the middle as city attorneys in terms of where we are with regard to the new preemption statute. So I'm going to give you some time because it doesn't seem equitable to me as I sit here this morning for you to have to rip it out to then, and if the rulemaking is finalized next month, to be able to put it in. Again, I don't know if your turf complies with what the DEP standards are going to be. That's going to be a determination that's made later once those rules are formally adopted by the DEP. But my concern is giving you 30 days and having you rip it out. I don't think that seems
Can I butt in
equitable.
just a moment? I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Ryan Thomas, co-compliance manager. The other case that was heard, they did like a continuance. So they didn't make a ruling on it. They pushed the hearing out a few months to wait for the laws to come out. If we could do something similar to that, where there's not a ruling per se, but maybe another hearing in a few months, and then hopefully they'll have figured out what the rules are by then, and we can have a hearing again, which is what we ordered on the other one. Just a suggestion to stay the same.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I think currently your code, the city's code is clear. He's in violation now. Your code prohibits the artificial turf where it is, so I can clearly find him in violation today. My concern is the equity in making him rip out the turf if in 30 days from now, hypothetically, it's allowed under the DEP's ruling. If the city's preference is to continue it, I'm happy to do that. That makes him have to come back to a subsequent hearing, but if that's the city's preference, I'm willing to discuss that with him.
Are you against coming back to another hearing in a few months?
No, I mean, whatever works for you, I'll go with whatever works. I'm wondering if me or anyone else coming back in a few months, if the FDP still does not have come out with guidelines.
Then we'll ask for a final ruling on that day.
Are we wasting your time? I don't know. I mean, this is just a question. So is it something that should be maybe across the board, giving it a few months in general and hoping that FDP comes out with? We somewhat know what FDP is aiming towards. We read the minutes of November 25th, and there's a number of things that they want and will be approved. And as I said, one of the companies we hired, they've been in South Florida since 1960, and this is one of the companies that's actually helping FDP come out with a accepting a product across the board that is environmentally friendly. How fast?
So the other thing that I don't understand, and maybe the city attorney can address is, I know that a lot of times the state will pass laws, but if we already had a law on the books, we were allowed to continue enforcing that. This is just about location of the turf. Are we going to be not allowed to keep that law once this law passes? Is this a different situation?
Yeah, there's no grandfathering provision in this particular law. The applicability of our code regulating artificial turf will depend on the rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to be fair, I would say the continuance to do the same thing like we did with the other case personally.
Yeah, that's fine. And if you don't have any objection to that, it accomplishes the same goal for you. It doesn't make you rip out what you have now, and it gives you some time, and it gives the city some time to figure out what the DEP regulations are. So I'm happy to do that. I guess the city should be on notice because the compliance is going to be a different thing once the DEP regulation. So this was cited for violation of the city's code. If once the DEP's regulations are adopted, the violation would be that it doesn't comply with those regulations. So it may be a different violation, but if everybody wants a continuance, I'm happy to give that just to give the parties more time.
Correct. And I'm not opposed to you guys giving him a little bit more time. As of now, when it comes to applicants that are submitting the turf applications, because you do still have to submit a turf application, we're letting them know that there's no turf in front of the house. And I find that this is an issue for people who's putting turf without a permit, that they realize they can't put turf in front and then they get a violation versus people who put in applications and they steer clear from that way.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate scenario because the law passed, but the DEP is taking time to pass the regulations. So we're kind of in a bit of a bubble. So
We didn't want to forget the address character.
yes, and that I will find a violation on so that gets remedied. So given that the address characters is a violation, what I'm going to do is just set a compliance date that's a little bit out. And I think that also preserves the city's interest in terms of finding a violation, because I can clearly find a violation today because I can enforce the city's code today, regardless of the state law. Once the DEP approves its or formally adopts its artificial turf regulations, the city's preempted from enforcing its ordinance. So I'll go ahead and set a time frame out. Is 120 days amenable to the city? Just for the artificial turf, not for the numbering standards, I'm going to keep your 30 days?
120 days, correct.
Okay. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do is, sir, I'm going to bifurcate your order. So I'm going to give you 30 days, and I'll read all this back in a formal ruling, but I'm going to give you 30 days on the numbering standards. So get the numbers placed on the house within the 30 days and call her to come do a reinspection so that she can comply you out on that. But I'm going to give you 120 days on the artificial turf in hopes that the DEP's rules come out and you can, hopefully your grass meets. It looks like high quality artificial turf, so hopefully you're compliant with the DEP's regulations, but that way you have some time so you're not spending money to rip out grass and then put it right back. And you don't have any objection to the documents being entered?
No, ma'am.
All right, anything further from the city?
No.
All right, in case CE 25114-282, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find that the city had good service based on the notice documents in the case file, which included an affidavit of posting. I'll find, based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the city staff, that the respondent's in violation of sections 94-451D, 78-6, 94-451A4. With regard to the numbering standard, is that 78-6-5 or is it just 78-6?
-5.
-5, okay. I'll find respondent in violation of 78-6-5. Correction for the record, I'll require respondent to comply with that section, 78-6-5, within 30 days, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues. For the violations of sections 94-445D and 94-450, no, I said that wrong, 94-451D and 94-451A4, I'll require a respondent to comply with those sections within 120 days, or again, $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue. So hopefully that gives you enough time on the artificial turf, and I wish you the best of luck, okay?
Last question.
Sure.
I am at the mercy of FDEP, so in 120 days, if they have not...
Keep in touch with the city if it's not done. I think they're close, so
Okay.
you should be fine.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Number 6, case number CE 251-04272. Address 124 Elmar Road.
Good morning. Raphael Forster, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 10/28/25 and posted on 10/29/25. Service was accomplished by certified mail on 11/24/25. It was assigned on 11/12/25. I have been in contact with the property manager. All photos accurately and truthfully depict the violations at the initial inspection. This property was cited for 18106C. I observed the accumulation of stagnant water on the property. As of 12/2/25, the property has not come in compliance. Therefore, the city is asking for another additional 45 days for the compliance. If they don't come in compliance, then the city is asking for another $100 per day until the compliance is achieved.
What was the compliance date? How many days?
45.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And have you had any communication with the respondent?
I'm sorry?
Have you had any communication with the respondent?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Okay, so they're aware of the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is compliance in this case?
They are going to have to fill in that area because towards the end of the property, it just dips. So every time it rains, it just fills up. So they're going to have to actually lay down some rocks, some sand, and some topsoil, and then reside it so that it levels out, so that it doesn't accumulate rain in that area of the property.
And do they have to get permits to do that?
I believe so. That's why I wanted like 45 days
So you
out.
think they can get through the permit process in those 45 days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, anything further?
No.
All right, for the record, the respondent is not present in case CE 25104272. I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include both an affidavit of posting and a signed certified mail that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 18106C, and I'll require a respondent to comply with that section within 45 days, or $100 per day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter.
Number 7, case number CE 251-04147, address 840 32nd Street.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Shaw, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement Officer. 840 32nd Street was cited on October 1st, 2025. Service was accomplished by a regular and certified mail sent on October 3rd, 2025. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on October 2nd, 2025. I have not been in contact with the owner of the property. This property was cited for multiple code violations. However, the outstanding violations are 34-102-A, junk abandoned vehicle, and 74-34-A-1-H, trash can in public view, I took photos at the initial investigation, and when I revisited the property, these photos accurately and truthfully depict the violations observed during my investigation. As of December 2nd, 2025, the property remains in violation of the code violation listed. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 30 days for compliance, or $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And what's the vehicle?
Those two vehicles parked on the east end of the property. They have no tags on it.
No tags, okay. Okay. And then the affidavit of posting, if I could see that. Thank you.
Posting.
Is it the last one? I think it's the last one. Thank you. All right, in case CE 251-04147, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 7434A1H and 34102A, and I'll require a respondent to comply with those sections within 30 days, or a $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Thank you.
Case, number 8, case number CE 250-94117, rescheduled. Number 9, case number CE 25114350, address 705 22nd Street.
Good morning. Code Officer Richard Pasmino, presenting this case for Code Officer Donald Lattimore, who couldn't be here today. Well, Officer Lattimore discovered this property while on routine patrol, and he observed the trash debris at 705 22nd Street, which is a vacant lot, which initiated this case. The initial inspection was on November 10th, 2025. The property was cited for overgrowth and trash and debris. The reinspection was completed on December 1st, and all violations observed on the property are not in compliance. This violations 18106A for trash and debris on the vacant lot, and 18106B for excessive growth, including grasses, weeds over 6 inches, overgrown trees, bushes, etc. The city issued the notice of violation to the property owner, which identified the violations, the code officer's contact information, and notice of this hearing date. The notice of violation was posted at Property and City Hall on November 14th, 2025. The affidavit of affidavit of posting is completed and attached to this case file. It's dated November 14th, 2025. Notice of violation was noticed by certified mail and regular mail on November 18th, 2025 by the city's clerk. Certified mail was returned on November 24th, 2025. The photographs, I reviewed this case in its entirety. The photographs do show the violations. in the initial inspection and the re-inspection. They accurately and truthfully depict the violations observed. There has been no contact noted with the property owner or any representative. With this being a vacant lot, overgrown property that is unmaintained, the city is requesting 10 days to comply the violations, and if no compliance, the city is requesting an abatement order to abate the violations on the property. This, I did a little research myself. Since this property was owned in 2020, the current ownership is the family, which was quitclaimed earlier this year, but the ownership has been in the same family since 2020, and since then it has had this is the fourth case, with 2 of the cases being chronic nuisance cases that had service orders. So this property is it's unmaintained, it's overgrown, it's not cared for, and it does constitute a health and safety concern because it could harbor vermin, rodent, disease-carrying insects, etc.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And your request for abatement, do you want continuing authorization to abate, or do you just want one time?
The officer just requested the one-time abatement.
I'm happy in the future on cases like this if you want to, in the future, ask for continuing abatement if this is a chronic problem. But for this one, I'll give you what you're asking, which is a one-time abatement.
Okay.
All right, anything further?
No.
All right, in case CE 25114350, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files at 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of sections 18106B and 18106A, and that those violations amount to health, safety, welfare violations due to the condition of the property and the likelihood for infestation of rodents and other pests. Will require the respondent to comply with those code sections within 10 days. If the respondents do not comply with those code sections within those 10 days, I'll authorize the city to abate the violations to return the property to compliance with city code.
Thank you.
Number 11, case number CE 250-83962. Address 330 Clematis Street, number 107.
Good morning once again. Kevin Levine in for Officer Don Williams. The business located at 330 Clematis Street, Unit 107, Sushi Yuma, was cited on 8/15/2025 for failure to obtain a sidewalk cafe permit. Both the business and City Hall was posted on 8/19/2025, and a copy of that posting is attached to the case. Regular and certified mail was sent on 10/3/2025. Mr. Williams did have contact with the business owner, and as of this morning, there is not an active application in the system for a sidewalk cafe permit. The city is requesting 60 days, to come into compliance, or a one-time fee of $250.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
Is there a posting affidavit in there somewhere?
Is that new posting? Is that it?
Maybe the one that's all the numbers? Yeah,
That's certified mail.
well, that's even better. All right, you had signed green card, so that's service. I just pop open that other one with the numbers just to make sure. Yeah, that one. Same thing, okay. Thank you. All right, in case CE 25083962, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include confirmation that the certified mail was signed for, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 78342A. And I'll require a respondent to comply with that section within 60 days, or a one-time fine in the amount of $250 will be assessed.
Number 12, case number CE 250-83961, address 531 Clematis Street.
Kevin Levine in for Don Williams. The business located at 531 Clematis Street, O'Shea's Pub, was cited on 8/15/2025 for failure to obtain a sidewalk cafe permit. According to Officer Williams, both the property and City Hall was posted on 8/19/2025. Certified mail and regular mail was sent on 10/3/2023. Mr. Williams did have contact with the business owner, and there is an active application on file dated 8/29/2025 for a sidewalk cafe permit number 25081718. The city is requesting 30 days to come into compliance and a one-time fee or fine, of $250.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And you said they've had an application in since August?
Yes, ma'am. On checking it this morning, there was a resubmit on 11/3, so I don't know if they didn't submit something, the application properly, or if they were missing something, but engineering is the one that reviews this application and approves it.
Okay, so there's relatively recent activity then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And 30 days should be enough time to get?
60 days, sir.
Oh, 60 days is what you asked for?
Yes.
Okay. All right, in case CE 25083961, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which includes signed certified mail confirmation that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 78.342A, and I'll require a respondent to comply with that section within 60 days or a one-time fine in the amount of $250 will be assessed.
Thank you.
Number 13, case number CE 251-04248, address 225 32nd Street.
Good morning. My name is Tony Epicella, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of West Palm Beach. On 10/23/2025, while patrolling my assigned area, I discovered the property located at 225 32nd Street. I initiated investigation and inspection of the property. During the inspection, I observed several violations, a total of 6 actually, and 4 have been voluntarily resolved. These violations were documented through photographs and field notes, which have been entered into the case. The photographs accurately depict my observances. The remaining violations are dealing with a rental license and a certificate of use, both of which were, an application was submitted on 11/18/2025. I have had numerous conversations with their attorney and one of the partners that owns this property, starting on 11/12. The property was posted on 10/24/2025 along with City Hall. U.S. mail and registered mail was sent on 10/24/2025. Sorry, excuse me. I did do a follow-up investigation on 11/17/2025. I determined that the violations that were corrected have been resolved. As of yesterday, 12/2/2025, the property remains a violation for the rental application. There was a couple of minor issues that I observed while doing the certificate of use inspection. Again, the representative was present during the inspection, and he agreed that he would be able to complete the minor repairs in 60 days. So the city's asking.
They got the certificate of use?
I'm sorry?
Did they get the certificate of use issued?
They did not.
They did not.
I was not able to, in good faith, pass the inspection.
Okay.
So the city's requesting 60 days or $100 a day. As I said, the representative agreed that he thought that that would be plenty of time.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate of the City would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony, into evidence.
And what's the evidence of a rental?
What's the evidence of rental? She's asking a question.
I'm sorry?
The evidence that the property is being rented.
It was just a standard operating procedure for me that when I see violations at a property, I go through this whole thing, and with contact with them, they admitted that the property is being rented. They also
Who's they, the owner, or you spoke to a tenant?
No, I spoke to the owner.
And they admitted that they're renting the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For the license, you have to ask for a $250 fine. Fine to run and certificate of use with $250.
Can I do it in 60 days?
We'd like to add that the flat fine after the time period for the BTR, the $250. He's got the fine to run on the certificate of use and a flat fine of $250 if they fail to comply with the BTR part.
Okay, and you want to give the 60 days on the
Yeah.
BTR as well?
Yes.
Okay, and then a one-time fine. All right, anything further?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. In case CE 251042448, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files, composite exhibit 1, without objection. If I could see the posting affidavit. And I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. There it is. It's not wanting to cooperate anymore, huh?
I apologize, Your Honor. Would you like me to recite the codes?
Yeah, if you want to list them, that's fine.
Okay. 22-441, obtain a business tax receipt required for rental dwellings, and 22-32A, certificate of use required.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll find adequate service by virtue of an affidavit of posting that's included in the case file that I just entered. I'll find based on the testimony of the code enforcement officer and the documents in the case file that the respondent's in violation of sections 22-441 and 2232A. For the violation of section 22-441, I'll require a respondent to comply with that code section within 60 days, or a one-time fine of $250 will be assessed if compliance is not achieved by that time. For the violation of 2232A, I'll require a respondent to comply with that section within 60 days, or a $100 per day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter.
Number 14, case number CE 251-04178, complied. Number 15, case number CE 251-04229, address 954 McIntosh Street.
Richard Pasmino, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. The property at 954 McIntosh Street. We received a complaint about property maintenance at this rental property. Code case was created on October 21st, 2025. It was, The initial inspection resulted in the following violations observed. Fence and wall maintenance required, 9432A4. The fences on the property are in disrepair, dirty, stained, mildew. Some parts painted, some parts not painted. Code section 944462E for edging. The landscaping was growing over the sidewalks into the curb, into the street. 18106A, clean and sanitary conditions. There are dirty, stained surfaces, including the sidewalks adjacent to the property and on the fences. The property was posted on October 22nd, 2025. It was certified and regular mail was sent out October 23rd, 2025, and it was signed for on November 3rd, 2025. I have had contact with a property management company just this past Monday, December 1st, but no additional contact previous to that or after that. They did request a rescheduling of the hearing, but was denied. No progress has been made towards compliance. The city's recommending 45 additional days to comply the violations. If not, the city's asking for a fine of $100 a day after that.
Thank you, Mr. Pasmino. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
Nice, yeah, that one, thank you. And the edges, can you do the photos again? I saw the fence and the wall and the staining. What was the edging?
The vegetation that's growing into the curb sidewalk over the street and to the sidewalk from the front yard. And some of that stuff against the wall, against the fence as well.
There. Okay.
Basically vegetation growing in non-landscaped areas.
All right. All right, in case CE 251-04229, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting and signed certified mail, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of sections 94302A4, 94446-2E, and 18106A. And I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections within 45 days, or a $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Number 16, case number CE 251-04256, address 4611 South Olive Avenue.
Richard Pazmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement Officer. The property at 4611 South Olive Avenue was discovered to have violations while patrolling my zone. On October 24th, 2025, the case was created for the violations I observed, which were excessive growth, 18106B, for they have hedges surrounding the property and trees that are excessively overgrown. They're starting to begin to encroach onto the public right-of-way on the streets and adjacent sidewalks. 744C4, trees, hedges obstructing the right-of-way. The hedges are about a foot to 2 feet over into the street, making it harder to see when you're rounding the corner. Vegetation hanging low over the sidewalk, not giving enough clearance. The property is in between two streets, so there's two sides of hedges obstructing two sides of the street. The property was posted on October 24th, 2025. The affidavit of posting is completed, notarized, and attached to the case file. Certified mail was sent out October 30th, 2025. It was signed and received on November 12th, 2025. I met with the owner just this past Monday, December 1st, to discuss the case violations and to go over the progress he has made. There was some trimming done, but as of Monday, the property does remain to be in violation of these two code sections. Like I said, they're about 1 to 2 feet over into the street, and some of the vegetation, the palms, are still hanging over the sidewalk. The owner asked for additional time. When recommended 30 additional days, he agreed. The city is recommending 30 additional days, and if that's not done, with the city's asking for a fine of $100 a day.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate of the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And you said the property owner agreed that they could get it done within 30 days?
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything further?
No.
All right, in case CE 251-04256, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include both an affidavit of posting as well as signed certified mail, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondents are in violation of sections 18106B, 744C4, and that's it. And I'll require respondents to comply with those code sections within 30 days, or a $100 per day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Thank you.
Number 17, case number CE 25114-323, address 211 Elaine Circle East.
Good morning. Joseph Laperna, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement Officer. On November 12th, 2025, while on routine patrol, my attention was called to the residential property located at 211 Elaine Circle East. There were several violations noted, and contact was made with the owner regarding these violations. The notice of violation was posted on November 13th, 2025. Certified and regular mail were sent on November 18th, 2025. Certified mail was received on November 25th, 2025. And the affidavit of posting was completed and filed on November 13th, 2025, and is in the case file. On December 2nd, 2025, I revisited the property for a final inspection and found the property to not be in compliance, photographing the items still in violation. 94-302-A-4, requiring fences be maintained in a safe, non-hazardous condition, and the fence is still in disrepair. 94-442-C-1, requiring all landscaped areas to be covered with grass or sod or other suitable ground cover. I took photographs at the initial investigation on November 12th, again on November 13th, and during a follow-up investigation, and finally on December 2nd. These photographs accurately and truthfully depict the violations and corrections I observed during the course of my investigation. The property owner, Ms. Faulkner, is not here today, but has been in contact with me throughout the investigation. She advised she is waiting for assistance to repair the fence and the funds to afford the additional sod needed to complete the resodding that she had already started. Considering these facts, and though these violations remain, 2 violations have been corrected at the time of yesterday's inspection. So the city would ask for 30 days for Ms. Faulkner to achieve full compliance or be subject to a $50 per day fine after those 30 days until full compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, in case CE 25114323, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of sections 94-302-A4 and 94-442-C1, and I'll require the respondents to comply with those code sections within 30 days, or a $50 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Number 18, case number CE 25114305, address 512 Superior Place.
Joseph Laperna, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement Officer. On November 10th, 2025, at approximately 11:29 a.m. while on routine patrol, my attention was called to the residential property located at 512 Superior Place. There were several violations noted, and contact was made with the owner of the property and her son regarding these violations. The notice of violation was posted on the property on November 10th. Certified and regular mail were sent on November 13th. Certified mail was returned on November 25th. And the affidavit of posting was completed and filed on November 10th and is in the case file. On December 2nd, I revisited the property for a final inspection and found the property not to be in compliance, photographing the items still in violation. Section 94-71-C, outdoor storage. I took photographs at the initial investigation on November 10th, again on November 25th during a follow-up investigation, and finally December 2nd. These photographs accurately and truthfully depict the violations and corrections I observed during the course of my investigation. The property owner, Irma Paul, who is not here but has been in contact with me and as well as her son. I spoke with her son yesterday, who stated he would need additional time to remove all of the stored material, garbage, and debris from the property for his mother. Considering the fact that this one violation remains, 2 other violations brought to her attention have been corrected as of the time of yesterday's inspection. So the city would ask for 30 days for the property to achieve full compliance or be subject to a $50 per day fine until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And what's the outdoor storage?
There is the whole side of the, along the fence line, where initially there was a boat, but on the whole left side of the fence line, there's bricks, landscaping items. Some of the garbage is cleaned up, but every time I go out there, there appears to be more garbage blown up against the fence. So it was brought to the son's attention yesterday that all of that has to be cleaned up. He said he would probably have it done by today, so if I went out today, I wouldn't be surprised if it was cleaned up.
I guess when she gets to a photo that shows me that, can you point it out to me?
Sure.
And you're saying the boat was part of it?
The boat was part of the violation, but that has been complied with.
So that was not outdoor storage, that was a vehicle
No, that
violation?
was, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, just show me the outdoor storage if you could. There we go, maybe that's them. Okay, so just miscellaneous items. Okay, perfect. All right, anything further, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, in case CE 25114305, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case file as Composite Exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file as well as the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 9471C. And I'll give respondent 30 days to comply with that violation, or a $50 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter.
Number 19, case number CE 2511438. Excuse me. Case number CE 2511438. Address is 419 Michigan Place.
Joseph LaPerna, City of West Palm Beach, Code Enforcement Officer. On November 12th, 2025, while on routine patrol, my attention was called to the residential property located at 419 Michigan Place. There were several violations noted, and contact was made with the resident and the owner regarding the property, regarding the violations. The notice of violation was posted on November 13th. Certified and regular mail were sent on November 18th. Certified mail was returned on November 25th. The affidavit of posting was completed and filed on November 13th and is in the case file. On December 2nd, I revisited the property for a final inspection and found the property not to be in compliance, photographing the items still in violation. Section 18-106A, clean and sanitary conditions, the staining on the driveway, she was advised needs to be pressure washed or otherwise cleaned. Also section 34-102A, abandoned inoperative vehicles in view of the general public. 4 vehicles are still on the property: a Dodge minivan, a Nissan sport utility vehicle, a BMW sedan, and a Lexus sedan. They appear to be inoperable with either flat tires or other evidence that shows that the vehicles have not been moved since before the initial inspection. I took photographs at the initial investigation on November 12th, again on November 25th during a follow-up investigation, and finally on December 2nd. These photographs accurately and truthfully depict the violations and corrections I observed during the course of my investigation. In speaking to the property owner, who is not here, she's been in good contact with me during the investigation, but she advised the owner of the vehicles was out of the country and would not return initially until today. Due to travel issues, the owner of the vehicles is not going to be returning till probably the 2nd week. She was advised, being the property owner, she is responsible for those vehicles being on her property, as well as the property maintenance. She stated she was aware of these issues, but due to her health and financial issues, she's unable to make all of these corrections at once. Considering these facts and circumstances, and though these violations remain, 7 other violations brought to her attention brought to our attention have been corrected as of the time of yesterday's inspection. So the city would ask for 60 days for her to come into full compliance or be subject to $100 per day until full compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
All right, in case CE 25114318, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent, who's not present today, is in violation of sections 18106A and 34102A. And I'll give the respondent 60 days to come into compliance with those code sections, or a $100 per day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Thank you.
Number 20, case number CE 251-04205, address 1343 11th Street.
Good morning, Code Officer KT Weaver with the City of West Palm Beach. While patrolling in my zone, I observed several violations at 1343 11th Street. I took photos of the violations, which accurately and truthfully depict the violations observed. I initiated my investigation on October the 16th of 2025, citing multiple violations. The violations are 18-215-B, failure to comply, 94-446-2-E, edging, 74-4-C-1, hurricane hazard, 18-106-K, landscape maintenance, 18-106-G, paint and touch-up, 18-106-B, excessive growth, 78-94-C, swells and parkways, 94-446-2-C-3, tree abuse, 94-71-C, outdoor storage, 18-103-E, condition of structure, 18-214-B, securing the vacant property, 18-106-A, clean and sanitary, 94-446-2-B, hat racking, and 18-209-A, the registration of the vacant property. The notice of violation was posted at the property and City Hall on October the 17th of 2025. The affidavit of posting was completed on October the 17th of 2025, and a copy placed in the case file. Certified and regular mail was sent to the mailing address listed on PAPA on November the 3rd of 2025. Certified mail was left with an individual. I revisited the property on December the 1st and observed the property still in violation of all the violations previously listed. Reinspection photos were taken showing the remaining violations. They were uploaded to the case file. I have had no contact with the property owner. The city is requesting an additional 15 days to gain compliance or abatement for all of the violations except 18-209-A, the registration of the vacant property. The city is asking for 30 days for that, or $150 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, ma'am. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony into evidence.
And Ms. Weaver, is it your testimony that with the exception of section 18209A, that the violations of all the other listed code sections amount to health, safety, welfare violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It looks like there was a fire or something on that property and it's vacant now?
And that's been a while.
Okay.
It has since changed ownership.
Okay.
But nothing has been done. It's just getting worse.
Okay. And the standard worry is over infestations. Obviously, the grass is pretty significant, but entry to the house is also a safety concern?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also with the 18209A, I did cite for painting, which cannot come under the abatement, so I would also include that with the 18209A.
18106G, the paint.
Yes. And that's under the 30 days or $150 a day.
Okay, great. All right, in case CE 25104-205, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting as well as signed certified mail, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of sections 18106G, 18106B, 7894C, 94446 2C3, 9471C, 18103E, 18214B, 18106A, 94446 2B3, 18209A, 18215B, 94446 2E, 744C1 and 18106K. With regard to the violations of sections 18209A and 18106G, I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections within 30 days, or $150 a day fine will be assessed for each day that those violations continue thereafter. For all the remaining violations I just listed, with the exception of 18209A and 18106G, I'll require the respondent to comply with those code sections within 15 days, or based on the health, safety, welfare violation finding, I will authorize the city to abate those violations to return the property to compliance with city code.
Thank you.
Number 21, case number CE 25104-208, rescheduled. Number 22, case number CE 25114-295, address 1410 7th Street.
Morning again, Code Officer KT Weaver with the City of West Palm Beach. I received a complaint for the property at 1410 7th Street. I went to the property and observed several violations, which some were complied. I took photos of the property, which accurately and truthfully depict the violations observed. I initiated my investigation on November the 7th of 2025, citing the following violations: 22-32-A, COU 22-441, no rental license, and 74-34-A-1-H, trash can in public view. For the COU and the rental license, there is a listing that is attached in the file of that's used as an Airbnb. The complaint came from a previous renter of the property before they left. And there is an application on file, just waiting for it to pass through zoning to get the inspection done on the property. The notice of violation was posted on the property in City Hall on November the 7th of 2025. The affidavit of posting was completed on November the 7th of 2025, and a copy placed in the case file. I revisited the property on December the 1st of 2025 and observed the property still in violation of all the violations previously listed. Reinspection photos were taken showing the remaining violations, and they were uploaded to the case file. I have spoken with the property owner, who has an application again in process and currently waiting on it to be signed off via planning and zoning. The city is requesting an additional 30 days to gain compliance, or $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to enter the case file, including the photos and testimony, into evidence.
Thank you. And I heard you say you posted. Did you also send the notice certified mail?
Yes, certified mail should have been sent. I don't send it out. We have an admin that does it. But
there was one of them. Yeah, let me look at this one.
See if it's on there. There it is.
All right, so it's moving through. And 30 days should be enough time to get through the licensing?
Yes.
Okay. And the trash can's an easy correction. That didn't comply, right?
No, it's still there.
All right, anything further?
No, ma'am.
All right, in case CE 25114295, I'll enter the city's evidentiary case files, composite exhibit 1 without objection. There's the Airbnb posting, that's perfect. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present at today's hearing. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the city had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of the code enforcement officer and the photographs and documents in the case file that the respondent is in violation of sections 2232A, 22441, and 7434A1H, and I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections within 30 days, or a $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter.
Thank you.
So that's the end of the regular agenda, but we can move on to the other matters. Is that right? Those were noticed for 11:30? All right, so with that, everybody need a break or we're good?
There's only one.
There's only one, so I think we're good. Okay, good. All right, with that, we'll move to the other matters agenda. It is 11:35. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the special magistrate for this portion of the hearing. So first thing I'm going to do is, if you're here for a code enforcement case, including city staff, if you could raise your right hands for me. Sir, can you raise your right hand? And I'll swear you both in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you both. A little bit about process. This looks like a fine mitigation request. So the city typically gives me a brief introduction, and then it's your turn to explain to me why the fine should be reduced. So with that, I'll turn it to the city to call its first case.
Number 24, case number CE 211110107, address 710 10th Street.
Okay, for case CE 21110107 at 710 10th Street, the property was originally cited for a dumpster enclosure, trash and debris, landscaping of the property in the swale, resurfacing and striping of parking lots, removing junk vehicles, windows and doors need to be weather tight, painting the building, repair exterior walls, exterminates for ants and rats, string lights, electrical panel not working properly, the breaker keeps popping off, floor in the kitchen needs repairing, doorknobs on the entrance doors, bathroom ceiling leaks in the shower area and out around the vent, and the water comes in under and around the windows. So it was ordered on 1/19 of 2022 to comply by 3/5 of 22. The fine started on 3/7 of 22. It was a daily fine of $300, ran for 715 days. Current fine is $214,500. Prior to this hearing, I was in contact with their attorney, Giovanni Mesa, and the applicant's attorney, and we reached an agreement to lower the fine to $21,450 payable within 90 days.
All right, your name, sir?
Yes, Giovanni Mesa with Sachs Kaplan on behalf of the respondent, 710 10th Street, LLC.
All right, you've heard what city staff has said. You're in agreement with that reduction amount?
We are, yes,
Okay.
correct.
Anything else you'd like me to hear?
Nope, that's
Otherwise,
it. Thank you.
this one's pretty easy. Anything further from the city?
No.
All right, in case CE 21110107, having heard both sides, I will grant the mutually agreed reduction. I'll reduce the previous lien amount from $214,500 down to $21,450 payable within 90 days.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I think he'll get the order after.
Not a problem.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's it, huh?
That's it.
All right, so I'll adjourn this hearing at 11:39.
Perfect, thank you.
What's the last name?
Thank you, sir.
Mesa.